Welcome to Carma Adventures! I'm sure you and your partner have been dreaming of the perfect place to visit during 2025. So we've come up with the ultimate list.
These are 7 countries that we visited and we absolutely fell in love with them. So it wouldn't be fair not to tell you guys about it.
And if you like the snow, or the summer, or the spring, or the autumn, don't worry because we've got countries for every season.
But before we get started, if you like this type of videos, make sure you let us know in the comments and subscribe to our channel so we can keep making them. This is in no particular order, but first up we've got Finland. A literal winter wonderland and probably one of the most magical places we've ever been to.
We went to Finland roughly last year in New Year's actually, so it's 1 year ago. And we fell in love. It was a bit cold. It was literally, minus 28 degrees. So every time we left accommodation, our eyebrows froze.
The best thing about Finland is that you get to experience things that you've probably never experienced before. And what a better person to do it than with your loved one. We got to ski together, snowboard together, which was a disaster. I actually injured my ribs. Oh, that was so painful.
Okay.
Oh, that was so painful. Oh, everything fell straight. But our favorite part has to be Northern Lights hunting on snowmobiles. You probably don't even know what a snowmobile is, but it's basically a snow motorbike. And we got to just go out there in minus 30 degrees, all geared up.
And at night.
At night, just looking at the sky, searching for Northern Lights.
It was absolutely incredible.
I can't lie, I was so jealous. Because I don't have a driver's license, I could not drive the snowmobile and I was so sad.
The only con or negative thing that I would personally say about Finland is that it's very pricey, especially during the festivities. So that may be a huge limitation to a lot of people.
And for some of you guys, the cold will be off-putting because it's not just a little bit cold, it's absolutely freezing temperatures. Like if you're outside without a glove, like your fingers will probably just fall off.
100%. Even my phone was the first time that it stopped working. It was on 100% battery. Tried to take pictures of the Northern Lights and it literally dropped to 0 in minutes. But if you want to know more about Finland, we've written a blog, so make sure you check the link in the description to learn more about Finland. We've spoken about winter wonderland, but what about paradise? I'm sure you've all heard about this country, but number 2 is Indonesia.
Indonesia! And Indonesia is a personal favorite of mine. And it's more than just Bali, okay?
Indonesia has felt like a very different country to others that we've visited. For example, it felt like a very laid back and relaxed country. Like you wake up, there's not much rush going on in your life. It's just pure joy and incredible weather without any exception.
I'd say the best thing we did there was just snorkeling. Like we went snorkeling every day pretty much. We even bought our own snorkeling set just to make sure we wouldn't have to rent it every time.
And we got to see sea turtles, fishes, and we would never imagine doing that.
Even got stung by jellyfish, which is a little bit scary, but
a bit painful as well.
Indonesia is a very big country with many islands, but our top 3 places to enjoy paradise with your partner have to be Gili Meno, Bali, specifically Nusa Dua and Lombok. The memories that stand out the most from our time in Indonesia have to be all the crazy hotels we've stayed in. And by crazy, I don't mean a place that you can just go to sleep. They all felt more like experiences. For example, in Gili Meno, we stayed in this bungalow that was literally on the beach. We stepped outside and we had sand on our feet.
But Indonesia is also a place for adventurous couples and also couples that just like to not move and just enjoy the time and the place. For example, something that we loved doing was just renting a bike and going around the island, exploring randomly and just finding amazing places.
We literally didn't have a plan. It was like, let's go to this beach and see what happens.
And at the same time, in other places like Gili Meno, we were literally in the same place, enjoying the same beach, the same food, and it was absolutely amazing.
But Indonesia does have a couple of cons. The first one being how famous it is, which means a lot of people know about it. So you might not have a very paradise experience if there's like 100 other people there.
The other con is also, you don't really understand how big it is until you get there. But Indonesia spreads so wide that it's very complicated, but also not very cheap to travel from island to island. So it's a bit of a restriction. I mean, you can still enjoy the places, but we would have wished that it was a bit more affordable to travel to other places in Indonesia.
Now let's switch things up with an European classic, Italy.
Wow, parmesano, margarita.
These are things we learned from my Italian friend.
And no disrespect to Italy, by the way. We love you guys.
Now for couples, Italy is the most obvious place when you think, where can I go with my partner? Italy.
But we are not speaking about Rome, the city with one of the 8 wonders in the world. No.
We're speaking about another famous place that we really enjoyed called Venice. Duh.
Never heard of that place. But talking about Venice, it's changed slightly a bit because now they've implemented a fee for tourists that you pretty much have to pay €5 a day to explore the actual city center.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
Like when we were there, we had to pay like a hotel tax, but
The typical hotel tax
yeah,
as a
but not
tourist.
that.
If you want a cheaper Venice, Birmingham has more canals than Venice. Bit rougher, maybe not as beautiful.
But the other place that we absolutely loved was Sicily. We rented a tiny little car and went up Mount Etna and took the most amazing photos in front of the crater.
Which is also an active volcano, but we did wish that we stayed slightly longer in Sicily because it had the most beautiful and romantic places that we've ever seen, such as Taormina. And if you haven't been there, we highly recommend it because it's basically a city on a hill and you can see from the top like all the other houses below you and the beach is on like a C shape. It's beautiful and it's probably a place that we will visit again with a bit more time. On the other hand, this may not apply to everyone, but when we rented a car firstly, it is a very chaotic place, especially coming from the UK. It seems like driving laws do not really exist.
Before we dive into the next section, let's talk about something that's made our travel so much easier. Staying connected whilst on the go. Many of you guys might know what an eSIM is, but if you don't know, it's basically an alternative to buying a physical SIM card or using your data roaming when you go traveling.
And with eSIMs, you've probably heard of Revolut, Holify, Iralo, but those companies are actually a bit expensive.
And that's where iRoamly comes in. It gives you affordable and reliable internet wherever you go. You won't need to hunt down dodgy Wi-Fis or stress about buying a SIM card in every country that you go to. Plus, it's all digital, so you can set it up in minutes.
We love how easy it is to use it, especially when we are exploring remote locations or even just planning a day on the go. Having the peace of mind that we will always be connected without breaking our banks makes such a big difference when traveling.
If you're heading off on your own adventure in 2025, make sure to check out iRoamly. There's a link in the description with all the details, and trust us, it's one of the best things you can pack for your trip. All right, now let's jump into Malaysia.
Which is country number 4.
Malaysia has been our home base recently. We've been here for like 2 months and we loved it so much that we even extended an extra month and decided to spend our 4-year anniversary in a secluded island here.
And not only that, but Christmas and New Year in Malaysia as well. If you are a couple that loves city vibes, but not only that, being treated as a king and queen, Kuala Lumpur is a place for you. We've done a video about it, but it's pretty much the most affordable city where you can get luxury. You've got rooftop bars on the level 37 of your building, but not only that, pretty much most of the accommodations have infinity swimming pool, which brings up the experience a whole nother level.
But not just that, what makes Kuala Lumpur so perfect is also the weather. Like here, it's always warm. Every time we go out, we just got in shorts. Yes, it does rain sometimes, but it's for a little bit, like it's fine.
Which is not the best thing for me because I'm very pale.
And if in your couple you are a little bit addicted to shopping, then Kuala Lumpur is perfect because here they have over 70 shopping malls. The only thing you need to remember is to bring a large suitcase so you can take it all back home with you.
But Malaysia is not only about big cities. In fact, the beaches here look very paradise-alike. And if you want to know more about all these islands, we are going to be visiting an exclusive island and Borneo very soon. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that content.
And I know throughout this video, I've been trying to give you guys some pros and cons for each place, but I actually can't think of any cons for Malaysia.
It is very difficult and we're not going to say anything for the sake of saying it. So no cons for Malaysia. Let's move on to country number 5, Albania. This is probably a big surprise for all of you, especially if you haven't visited Albania. But we went to Kisamil and wow.
I remember sending a photo of the beach to my parents and they were like, I didn't know Albania looked like that. And I thought, me neither.
It's literally the description of paradise and crystal clear waters and pure white sand.
It's okay, calm down, calm down. He's getting really excited. It's basically a Mediterranean getaway for half of the price. Kasama is a perfect place for couples looking to just relax and do probably absolutely nothing.
Just sunbathe and just literally a few walks away, enjoy the weather and the beach and the water.
But there are also a lot of water activities that you can do, and absolutely the highlight of the trip was kayaking to the uninhabited islands. The only thing you have to remember is to bring sun cream because it can get a little bit toasty. I'm saying our sunburn lasted 3 months.
On the other hand, during the evening, you can enjoy the nightlife. It's quite lively there. We're not big fans of the nightlife and going out clubbing and drinking, but we've heard and we've seen a lot of good things about it. Now, we have 2 cons about Albania, more specifically Kisame.
Con number 1 is that most beaches have these sunbeds that look really appealing, but when you get there, this guy is gonna come to collect the money.
Very obviously, but what we are trying to say is that there's hardly any space for you to lay down your towel and just sunbathe without having to pay. In fact, a lot of the beaches are private, meaning that if you don't pay, you can't stay there. And the second thing is that because it's such a beautiful place, the prices are very volatile. What do I mean by this? On the off-peak season, you can expect to pay very affordable prices. Now on the high season, which is pretty much starting from May, be ready to rip off your bank because it's going to be a very expensive holiday.
I'm pretty sure for our hotel, we paid like £40 a night and it was off season. And then in high season, Max was like, do you know our hotel was like £200 a night? And I was like, what?
Yeah, it was mind blowing. We couldn't believe it.
Now I know we're not going into too much detail about each country, but we just want to give you guys the top destinations that you need to visit in 2025. But if you do have extra questions, just let us know in the comments and then we can do extra videos. Destination number 6, we've got Portugal. More specifically, south of Portugal, the Algarve. I'm not going to say Algarve because I speak Portuguese. Thank you very much.
How do you say it in Portuguese?
Algarve.
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 Algarve. But this place has the most stunning coastline that I think we've seen in our lives.
I can't lie, this is my favorite place. Like I've told Max, I think we should live in Portugal because I am obsessed with Portugal.
You can visit Algarve so many ways, but the way that we did it was we went literally for just 1 weekend, 2 days, and we rented a camper van. And this was our first time experiencing that camper van lifestyle, which was very cool, and we definitely want to do it again. But anyways, that allowed us to see the whole coastline pretty much in 2 days.
But it was not enough time, so please allow yourself way more, especially if you're doing the camper van lifestyle. We have the company that we use, we'll leave the name in the description, and it was the best experience ever. Like the perfect weekend.
We only wish that we had a few more hours to enjoy the time. In Algarve, you can find many things such as water activities, a lot of beautiful beaches, but something that we really liked was the food. It wasn't just good, but it was also incredibly affordable for Europeans.
And the people there are just so kind. Like, I don't know if it's because obviously I speak Portuguese, so they were extra nice, but I am obsessed with that place and we would go back there any day.
And we also made friends when we were doing the only zipline in the world that crosses from country to country.
Although we do recommend that you go in the summer because if you go off season, you might get a little bit of bad weather and it could ruin the experience, which is basically what happened to us. We couldn't go in the water because the sea was too strong and it was really windy and cold.
Let's go on to country number 7. Now this country, I am going to say, is probably not on your radar, but if it's not, please add it onto your 2025 must visit places because you won't regret it. And this country is Vietnam! One of the cheapest countries in the world to visit.
Now, depending where you're based, it might be a little bit expensive to get there, but once you are there, oh my God, you can expect great things.
Heaven.
Vietnam is a destination full of surprises. It's perfect for couples who love adventure and culture. But we have to say we personally prefer the north to the south. And this is because the north has everything. You've got mountains, you've got lakes, rivers, beaches.
Even lotus farms. Not Lotus Biscoff, the actual plant. One of the reasons why we liked it so much is because it was actually a shock how beautiful it is.
So much that the country we went to after seemed so boring because we didn't do as many things as we were doing in Vietnam. Like we were doing activities every day. And one of our favorite things that we did was a hike in Sapa with a tribe
a tribe that eats dogs.
But we also loved Kaaba for having the most beautiful landscapes.
I'm not too sure. You may correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's one of the 8 wonders in the world.
But another super romantic place was Hoi An. We both fell in love with that place. Like, if you ask us favorite place in Vietnam, Hoi An is up there. The streets all have these beautiful lanterns, and we also got to put a candle in the river, made a wish, and like I was about to cry in that day.
It was a bit emotional. It was such a special and undescribable moment, if
Wait,
that's even a word.
I'm even getting emotional just thinking about it. I'm about to cry. Whew. Sorry.
We do have 2 minor cons. Well, one is that there's a lot of trash in the beach in general.
Unless you go to a private one.
But another con is that there's not enough hours in the day to explore that place. There's so many things to do.
That's like a cheeky way of saying a positive.
That's been our top 7 countries that you must visit during 2025. And if you've been to any of them, let us know in the comments your thoughts.
And if you haven't, what are you waiting for?